We begin at 3 o'clock with breaking news out of Commerce City, where there has been a large police presence this afternoon. Commerce City police say they found no one with injuries, no guns, no weapons, no bombs at Adams City High School.
Let's start with a live look from that high school right now. You're looking over Sky 9, where a source tells 9 News this started as a threat to shoot up the school and set off a bomb. They have no evidence that caller is on scene or even real, and we've seen departments from all over the metro respond to this.
Here's a map of the area right around that school. The school is at Quebec and Parkway and 72nd. That's in Commerce City. Officials are asking everyone to stay away from this area for now. We have 3 crews covering this breaking news. 9 News reporter Steve Stager will start with him, bringing us some latest details. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I want to get you, and I'm going to repeat what you just said because it's important to note that this came in, according to a source who told me a little earlier, that this came in as a threat to shoot and set off a bomb inside this school, and that the caller also alleged that they had already shot someone inside the school. So you can imagine that bringing a large police presence here to Adams City High School. And the good news is that the police have been through the school. They have found no threat. They have found no bombs. They have found no evidence of any shooting. In fact, they've found no evidence of whoever made that call. They're not sure it was really a real call here on the scene. But you could get an idea of just how hectic and chaotic a situation like this can be. When we got here right around 1:30, 1:45, there were crowds of people here just not unsure of what was going on inside the school, all waiting for information, saying they weren't getting a lot of it other than maybe a text message from their kids who were inside classrooms and locked down here at the school. And to give you an idea of what police have to do in a situation like this, they don't know whether or not the threat is real, so they have to go in assuming that the threat is real and clear the entire school. And so all of those drills that these kids have been through, they're trained to do what to do in a situation like this, and all of that kicked in. I spoke to one student on the outside, Josiah, who said that he heard about a threat and just ran.
And I saw police coming in with guns, so I kind of got scared and I just ran out the school because I didn't want to get myself into danger or anything.
But you can imagine kind of the chaos that comes from the lack of information in a situation like this. We were standing out in front of the school. We saw a parent drive up kind of past the police line, honking his horn. He gets out of his car. He starts yelling at the officers out in front. My son is inside the school. I need more information. And obviously the police officers were able to talk to him in a situation like this. But the good news that we can report is that there was no threat here. There was no shooting. There was no bomb at Adams City High School. It is good news for all the people who are gathered outside here waiting for any information. I will say I'm hearing from some parents here who say that they didn't get much information from the district throughout this situation. So that's one of the questions that we'll ask as we continue to report out this story. What was the communication to parents about what was going on inside the school here? But you imagine in those early moments that there's so much chaos just trying to make sure that everything's all right on a scene like this. We're outside Adams City High School. Steve Stager, 9 News.
Yeah, Steve, easy enough to report best case scenario after the fact, but for those parents dealing with it, not knowing if their kids are safe, I mean, there are no words to describe those types of feelings.
Yeah. Steve.
Well, and Alex, you think about you think about the kids in this situation, right? Like they were, they think a situation is actually happening. We've talked to some of the kids about what they were hearing was going on inside the school, which doesn't match now with what we actually know happened inside the school. But rumors tend to fly. You don't know what's going on. And then that short period where there's the lack of information and the chaos. A lot of people are concerned, but the good news is that nothing happened inside Adams City High School today.
Steve, thank you.
Now let's go out to our colleague, Evan Krugel, who's also at the school. You, Evan, have been speaking to officials and parents, so you've been hearing a little bit of both of those.
And Jennifer, we're told when police got here, they did find blood inside the school. That's what prompted this huge police response. They have since determined that blood was from an unrelated incident, potentially a self-harm incident somewhere inside the school. So again, no injuries reported, no weapons found inside the school, but they did have a huge response to this threat. I do want to show you the scene here on Quebec and 72nd this afternoon as parents wait for their kids to come out of the classroom still. Just in the past 5 minutes or so, the intercom, some staff members came over the intercom at the high school. They told students inside that they are safe and that they are now free to communicate with their parents outside of the school. Up until that point, those students had been on a lockdown situation and had been told not to use their phones. However, of course, those text messages were coming out to parents who were waiting out here. And as we always see in those situations, those rumors swirl very quickly. And so you've got a very tense group of parents who were waiting out here. They are now quite relieved to hear there is no situation inside the school. Their kids are okay. But as you can imagine, they are still really anxious, waiting to give those kids a big hug as they come out of the school. We don't know at this point exactly when the kids will be released, only that they have been told they are okay and that they are able to communicate with parents outside. We did speak with some parents who gathered here earlier today. Here's what they had to say about those emotions they were feeling.
Just like chills, you know, like we got to come see, and, you know, I know we can't go in there and she can't come out, but we just got to stand by.
And obviously just an incredibly nerve-wracking situation for hundreds of parents who have gathered here along Quebec, waiting to hopefully see their kids here soon this afternoon. Reporting live, Evan Krugel, 9 News.
Yeah, Evan, as we've seen time and time again, it's one thing to know your kids are safe. It is a totally different thing to be able to wrap your arms around them. And that's what parents at Adams City High School are still waiting on this afternoon. Evan, thanks. Let's check in with 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry, also out on the scene. Just like Evan, she's been talking with parents as this unfortunate incident has unfolded. Hi, Jaleesa.
Hi, yeah, definitely a stressful moment for a lot of parents. We arrived here about 45 minutes ago, and this frontage road right in front of the high school has been covered with parents waiting to see their kids. Now, we have seen a number of fire trucks, police cars, and ambulances clear the scene. You can see quite a few leaving right now, but still a decent police presence right now. And parents still waiting to see their kids. One mom tells us she received a panicked call from her daughter. She said she was hiding in her classroom. The 9th grader told her mom it all started during a passing period. Teachers came out of the classroom yelling for kids to get inside. A bunch of kids started running, some even driving off. The whole situation has many parents thankful that these kids are safe. This is what one parent had to say.
My wife was passing through. We can only think about one person, that's God, you know, pray for him and to have our kids safe and sound, and that's it. He texted my wife already, told him he's good, he's in class. You know, we've seen it everywhere else, but not in our situation over here. But there's always once, you know, there's always that one time that's always gonna happen. You know, that's all we can pray for, is to see him again, come out those doors.
You know, a lot of parents said that they were relieved that their kids had their cell phones. They were able to call them or text them to let them know that they're okay. But now all they really want to do is physically see them. Reporting live at Commerce City, Jaleesa Irizarry, 9 News.
All right, Jaleesa, thank you. And I think, you know, we're all taking a breath today, right? No injuries, no weapons found, everything is okay. But that does not mean these families are okay. These kids, there's gonna be a long night with a lot of families at the dinner table tonight. We're talking through this and trying to just get yourself kind of righted and the nervous system come down before tomorrow. But thank goodness we are reporting this resolution.
That's right, and we can be thankful for our first responders who, again, in these situations, they are trained, they know what to do, they show up, and they make sure our kids are safe.